attacks is dead, but police in France and Belgium continue the hunt for more suspects. And now Rome and New York City are on heightened alert for possible attacks.
Meantime, House Republicans will vote today on a bill to prevent or limit Syrian and Iraqi refugees from entering the United States. Representative Adam Schiff of Burbank is the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. The congressman joining us live from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you.
The ringleader of the Paris attacks, Abu Hamid Abu Aoudud, is dead. How does this impact what we are doing there and the threats to us?
Well, I think it's good news that the French so quickly were able to take out this ringleader of these devastating attacks in Paris. It doesn't mean that Europe is necessarily through with this threat, though. There are a great many people in Europe, in France, in Belgium, as well as other European countries that continue to pose a threat. Other cells that may be activated within the next few weeks to carry out successive attacks. So they're not relaxing at all, and nor should they. We are providing all the intelligence support that we can. When the French gather cell phones or other information selectors, we run them through our system and provide them with whatever intelligence support that we can. In terms of here on the homeland, what we're most concerned about in the aftermath of Paris is the idea of copycat attacks here. They wouldn't be of the same scale as what we saw in Paris because ISIS doesn't have the same capability yet to attack us in the United States. But we do have a problem here with homegrown radicals, people that have been inspired. These are Americans who have been inspired by ISIS propaganda, and they choose now to lash out. So that's what we're maintaining our highest vigilance on.
Italy and Germany have, of course, raised their threat levels. Now we're hearing New York City is on heightened alert as well. Where are we in terms of homeland security, in terms of precautions that are being taken?
I think we're taking, in terms of our cities, all the prudent precautions that we can. Obviously, we don't want to shut down life, particularly when we don't have any specific credible threat. That is, we haven't discovered evidence from Paris that there's a cell operating here that has been activated. But nonetheless, we're taking prudent precautions. We don't want people to dramatically change how they live. We don't want to let the terrorists succeed in curbing our freedoms here. The one area where I still think, though, that we are deficient, and that is the area of airport security. And this has as much to do with the destruction of this Russian aircraft as anything else, and that is, I still think we need to do more to protect those that have access to our airports, but as well to make sure that the TSA, when they screen you at the airport, that those are successful screenings, because all too often when we test the TSA, they fail that test.
As you know, there's a big debate today and a vote on the issue of refugees coming to the United States. The Republicans are saying there needs to be sort of a pause, that they need to be certified as to whether or not they should be allowed into this country. President Obama opposes that, but the reporting this morning is that there was a closed-door meeting with the Homeland Security Chief, the White House Chief of Staff, and Democrats. It didn't go well. What's your position on all of this, and what happened this morning?
Well, from an intelligence point of view, I have to say that the refugee program, those coming to the United States, has not been the problem. We've taken in about 750,000 refugees since 9/11 and had little or no problem with that refugee population. Frankly, the much bigger problem that we had, as I mentioned earlier, was this problem with homegrown radicals here in the United States, people who are made extreme by ISIS propaganda. So it's a lengthy process to come to this country as a refugee. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years. If there are ways to improve that process, we should do it. But we shouldn't close the door. I think that's a mistake and only plays in to the ISIS ideology that people of Muslim faith aren't welcome in the West. I think that would be a big mistake and only help support the ISIS narrative. So precautions, yes. A shutdown, no. And frankly, from an intelligence community perspective, the much bigger risk to us comes not from refugees who are waiting in line for 2 years, but rather from Europeans who have traveled to Iraq or Syria, who have come back to Europe, And we have a visa waiver program with Europe. So if you're a European citizen, you can come to the United States without a visa, without an interview even. That is the much bigger vulnerability. I don't think we should focus on children fleeing the violence in Syria.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We look forward to your next visit with us when you are back in